Hey guys, today I'm filming my labor and delivery story video, and before we get into it, I want to apologize if the lighting is changing. The sun keeps coming in and out of this window even though I have the blinds drawn. It is continuing to throw off my lighting, but I'm not holding up any products. We're just talking today, so hopefully it won't be too distracting, and I'll try to edit it as much as I can, but I can only do so much on iMovie, or at least that I'm aware of, as my editing abilities can only take me so far. But this video is very late. My son will be 2 months old on the 21st, and it just took me a while to get my thoughts together because I've never actually watched one of these videos before. So I did look up the video from Raw Beauty Christy to get an idea of the points that I wanted to mention. And first I wanted to say that I am so thankful that I had such a smooth process. Christy's story was so intense. I felt so bad for her and everything that she went through. Obviously it was worth it to have her miracle baby, but like, wow, she had an intense time. I could not have handled a tenth of what she experienced. So if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. Show Christy some love on that video. But yeah, that was really helpful for me to remind me of a lot of things that I had forgotten about. So I am going to do my best to have this flow, but honestly that day was a bit of a blur, so I'm sure there's a lot of details that I'm mixing up, a lot of things that I'm leaving out, so the editing might be a little choppy, and I may be annotating some things on the screen, adding some things in a pinned comment of things I'm like remembering. But I can also do a Q&A if you guys would be interested in that. If you have any questions about Landon, about pregnancy, labor, being a first-time mom, having a newborn, like anything, let me know. I'd be happy to do that. And I'd also love to know what kind of baby content you would want to see. I am not going to become a lifestyle channel. I do not watch lifestyle channels. That is not of interest to me. But I was thinking about doing a video on my pregnancy and newborn must-haves. Also let me know if you want me to kind of like rate the things that we put on our registry, because there are some things that have been miracle workers and some other things that were a waste of money. So let me know if you'd be interested in that. But I definitely want to do a pregnancy and newborn must-haves, because I'm not going to mention everything that other people have. I'm not going to mention as many things, at least from what we've discovered so far in these first 2 months. Let me know if you guys want to see like 3 month at a time updates of him. I could also do that on Instagram if you'd be interested. I have been posting a decent amount about him on Instagram. I have a whole highlight dedicated to him, then I have a bunch of pictures and some videos of him on my feed if you guys are wanting to see more of Landon. And my handle is just @loveheatherette. So I'm going to tell you the story, and then at the end I will show you Landon so you guys can see him. Hopefully he'll be awake and not crying. We'll see. I might have to edit that clip in from like a different day if he's not cooperating, but we'll see. He's sleeping right now. So let's just get into the story. So my due date was April 16th, which was a Friday. And I had gone to the doctor that Monday, and I think that I was like half a centimeter dilated or something like that. And she told me to go ahead and schedule an appointment for the following Monday, just in case. And then if I have my baby before then we can just cancel the appointment. So of course, that entire week I was so anxious and wondering when the heck this baby was going to come. I am such a planner that it is hard for me to be spontaneous and to just go with the flow. I have a hard time with that. So the fact that, of course, unless you have like a scheduled C-section or a scheduled induction, you can have your baby at any time, any number of weeks. So that was stressing me out, but especially towards that last week, I was really stressing out about it. And I started to get a lot of anxiety about work, things that I do on a daily basis, like calling, referrals, talking to clients, being in team meetings. I was terrified to do all of those things, which again, I do on a daily basis, and I was just super stressing out. So I was just so ready for this baby to come and to be on maternity leave, which my job has no paid maternity leave. I right now am on 12 weeks unpaid maternity leave, which sucks. I work for a nonprofit that we have like 90% female employees, and I just think it's insane that we have no paid maternity leave. I use my sick time, I use my PTO time, but no paid maternity leave unless you signed up for the Aflac short-term disability during open enrollment, which for us is July, and I didn't. And at this point, it would obviously have been too late too. So I met with HR really late into my pregnancy. I was like, hey, just let me know like what I need to do, you know, when my baby comes, what do I have to do to start maternity leave? And she was like, okay, well, you know, it's 12 weeks unpaid. And I was like, huh? She's like, yep, 12 weeks unpaid. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I don't have any more questions. Like that's it. And I'm mad at myself because I should have found out sooner. I wish I had asked sooner because I had tons of doctor's appointments, and as you get further along, they go from every other week to every single week. And I had been working half days and then using sick time for the other half of the day because of my appointments. And then I realized I needed that sick time to be able to get a freaking paycheck since I had unpaid leave. So I was really mad at myself. And then after I found out, for the rest of the weeks, I made up my time, which is a great thing about my job is that we can flex our hours. So I could have just like come in a little early, leave a little late to make up that time. And I really wish that I had done that. So if any of my employees in the future, while I still work there, are about to go on maternity leave, I will make sure that they know that. So I was trying to work up until my final day. I was trying to work up until he came so I can get that coin. And on that Wednesday, which would have been the 14th, I couldn't handle it anymore. I was so stressed out. I was like, I have to start today. And as it was getting closer to that due date, I was just so anxious and panicked to think that my water was gonna break any minute. And I work from home, so it wouldn't have been like the biggest deal, but I couldn't stop thinking about it, and work was so stressful at the time. We were having so many crises and I just couldn't handle it. And I also believe that Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken, I think at like 2 in the morning, my mucus plug came out, which was like kind of yucky. And I was like, okay, great, this is go time, right? No. So I looked it up online and it was like, yeah, it can be the same day. It can be a week from then. Like, tells me nothing. Doesn't narrow it down one little bit. So that made me even more anxious. Like every move I made, I was like, is that a contraction? Is that a contraction? Is it happening? Like I was so anxious. I was like, that's it. I have to start today. This is not worth it to get 2 days of pay. Like, no. So I did start my maternity leave on the 14th. So no baby on my due date Friday, no baby Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I had my follow-up appointment with my doctor, and I think it was like 1.5 centimeters dilated, but still no baby. So she said that someone from their office was going to be reaching out to me, or someone from the hospital would be reaching out to me to schedule an induction. And they had scheduled it for Thursday, the 22nd, which was so crazy because that's our neighbor's birthday. And she was like, oh, you're going to have your baby on my birthday. And I was like, girl, we are not going to have a baby a week late. Like I was just so convinced he was actually going to be here early. So at this point, I'm feeling much more relaxed because I am officially on leave, and I'm so glad that I took it when I did because I really needed that time. We like prepped the nursery a little bit more, and I just got to mentally prepare myself and relax a little bit, which was so needed. So on Wednesday the 21st, I woke up around 6:30 feeling some cramps, but they weren't too intense, so I didn't want to overreact. Wasn't sure if it was it. Then I waited a little longer. Justin got in the shower, so around 7 I started feeling them even more intensely. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is it. So then I decided to get in the shower to freshen myself up, and then like I could barely get through the shower. Every couple of minutes it was like, oh, such intense cramping. So I have always heard contractions be described as like really intense period cramps, but I am super fortunate because I've had period cramps like 4 times in my life. I don't ever have them. That is not like the difficult part of my period. So I was like, my pain tolerance is like 0. If I'm not even used to regular cramps, how am I going to handle a contraction? So it was probably more intense for me than others just because I don't have any baseline of discomfort there. Another thing I will tell you guys, the times that I'm giving you are approximate. The measurements I'm giving you are approximate because I honestly cannot remember. That day is a little bit of a blur, and the only like specifics I wrote down was how many hours I was in labor and how long I pushed for. Everything else is just honestly a guesstimation. So around 8 o'clock we called the midwife on duty, and because we were a week past our due date, she said to go ahead and come on in, especially because it was the day before our scheduled induction. And I want to say we got there around 9 o'clock. We went to an Inova hospital and all the staff were absolutely fantastic. And like, we had the best nurses ever, like the best nurses, which made everything so much easier and so much better, especially us being first-time parents. And like, it was just Justin and I, we couldn't have anybody else there. So they were amazing. But anyway, we got in around 9 and I had to get a COVID test because I had gotten one in my doctor's office, but they're only good for 2 weeks. And because I didn't have my baby on my due date, it had been longer than 2 weeks, I had to get a new one. So then I had to wait in this little area until my test came back negative, and then they put me in a room. So while they're waiting on my COVID test, they hooked me up to see my contractions on the screen, and they honestly couldn't see them, but I could feel them. But of course, they started spacing out as soon as they hooked me up to the monitor. You know, kind of like when you have a repair guy come and then like the leak isn't there anymore. When he shows up, that's how it felt. I was like, girl, I've been feeling them. And then all of a sudden they being shy because I'm hooked up to something. But after I got put into a room, I was like, listen, I'm ready for that epidural. Let's go. Let's do it. I cannot handle the pain. And luckily Justin asked them, because I didn't even know. I wouldn't even have thought about it. And Justin asked about meals and stuff, and they said you can't eat anything and should only be drinking water after you have your epidural. And I was like, well, hold the phone, I need to eat some freaking lunch first. So it took about like an hour for lunch to come, so I maybe didn't get my epidural until like 1, and I was really ready for it by that point. So I was a little nervous to get the epidural. I've always heard like it's this huge needle and it's so scary, and it's in your back. You can't see what's happening there. And I had a good experience. I know some people have gone like half numb. Girl, no, my whole body numb. And it's like there's like an IV in your back. I don't know. It didn't bother me once it was in there. I didn't really notice it, luckily. And my whole body, like below my chest down, numb, which was so funny feeling. I just couldn't get over it. I was completely numb. So let me like speed up the story. I'm being so slow. So I was not dilating very fast. I think at that point I was like 3 centimeters dilated, which is not very much. So, you know, I'm just laying in the room, watching YouTube, hanging out, and you know, I'm really still not dilating. So the nurse and Justin have me kind of like rolling left to right, sitting up, but my whole body is numb and I could not lift myself whatsoever. They're like, lift your butt up, lift your leg. Nothing. I could not. And even when I would like reach down to touch my leg, it was like it felt asleep. Like if your arm or leg ever falls asleep like that. It was very bizarre. And my big behind was heavy and my nurse was so small, and thank God Justin was there, but that poor girl got her workout in for the day trying to lift my big old behind and move me from left to right. It was just hilarious because I literally could not move whatsoever. It was the weirdest feeling ever, but I was not in pain, so I would take that any day. One thing that I forgot to mention is that the doctor's office I go to is mostly midwives, but they do have some doctors there, and they want you to see different midwives. That way, hopefully on the day that you give birth, you will meet with a midwife that you've met with before. And I had seen maybe like 6 or 7 people in the office. There was one lady that I liked a lot, so I tried to like schedule my appointments with her as much as I could. But when it got to every week, you just had to take who you can get at whatever time you could get because they were pretty booked up. But the day midwife, she was from my practice and I had been with her before, and she was really, really nice. So it was great to have her throughout the day, but she did leave somewhere between 6 and 8. And then it was a different midwife for night, and I had never seen her before. And that's because she was from a different office. So I was a little annoyed by that. So I'm like, really? I've seen like 7 midwives to only then be with someone that isn't even at my office. So you want to like kind of know the person that's digging all up in your private. So I was hoping for someone that I had seen before, but it all worked out in the end. But she was not like the warm, cozy, fuzzy kind of midwife that I love. So at first I was like, I don't know about this, but she ended up being like the exact person that I needed. But while the daytime midwife was still there, she was asking me if I was feeling like a lot of pressure in my butthole area. And I told her, no, I'm not at all. And she's like, okay, well, you're probably going to, and that's like a sign that we're almost there. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever. when I felt it, and it was so bizarre. It was such an intense pressure that it hurt. Not like normal contraction pain, but like so much pressure. It was the most uncomfortable thing ever. Like it feels like you're not supposed to feel like that. Like you've got to run to the bathroom, or like it felt so weird. And I was getting really nervous at this point because again, I was dilating, but slowly. Again, they were rolling me all around for hours to try to induce things, get them going. They were gonna give me Pitocin to induce my labor. I thought they did. Justin said they didn't, so I guess they didn't end up needing to. But after it had been so many hours, I started to get nervous because I was so numb. I was like, I'm not going to be able to push this baby out. So I, at this point, started to feel a little bit more pain. I had full body shakes like you'd have thought I was naked in the tundra. It was so bizarre. I could not control it. My body was shaking like so bad. And then I'm starting to feel the pain a little bit more. The nighttime midwife came in, asked me if I wanted to bump up the medicine, and I said no. Like, I don't want to do anything else because I'm just afraid I'm not gonna be able to push. So that last like 2 hours, I was really struggling. I was shaking so bad. My butt almost bothered me. I was so uncomfortable. I was in pain, but I was like, no, I have got to push this baby out. So I just endured it. And then the nighttime midwife said that she'd be back in like an hour, and I am like in agonizing pain, but I'm like, no, she said an hour. I want to hold out. I want to make sure I'm fully dilated, because they also said that they shouldn't be actually like checking your dilation too much because it can mess things up. And she'd already done it a couple of times. So I was like, okay, like I don't want to do it anymore. I don't want to mess anything up. So at this point I was in a lot of pain. I was shaking really badly, and I started to get acid reflux, which was like the main symptom during pregnancy. And it was so strong. It was just burning. So it's like, I'm in all this pain down here and then all this pain up here. It was a lot going on. It was very stressful. And I was trying to hold out till that hour, like the midwife had said. And Justin was like, no, get her to come in here right now. My wife's in too much pain. So I was trying to push, and it was like, I was afraid of, I was not pushing very hard. I was pushing as hard as I could, but I could tell it wasn't hard at all. So I'm holding my legs, I'm trying to push as hard as I can. Then they're having me roll on my side and try to push. And I was able to like move around a little bit more at this point, but not a ton. So they were still having to help me a lot. And I was really like, you know, like squishing my face, and the midwife was like, don't do that. So I tried not to, but because she was a midwife on call, she had to go like answer the phone, because there were a couple other people having babies there that day. And while she was out, it was just the nurse, Justin, and I was like squishing my face. And then the midwife came in, and I like stopped. I felt like I was gonna get in trouble. And I'm just pushing and pushing, I'm trying. And she started encouraging me, which again, like I said, she's not like the warm and fuzzy midwife. So I wasn't sure what that was gonna be like for me. But she was like, you can do this, you can do it. And literally I'm pushing and pushing, and I'm thinking to myself, we're gonna be here for hours. Like I was getting really, really discouraged. I was so tired. It had been 16 hours. I was so tired. And she started like digging around and pulling apart. Like she was like all up in there, and I was screaming because she was hurting me. I was screaming at the top of my lungs. But because of her, Landon came out when he did, and there comes his little head, and then his whole body came out. So Justin got to clip, oh my gosh, I feel like when I cry, just talk about it. So Justin got to clip the cord and plop him on my chest. And what is so funny is that like whenever I see pictures of like babies covered in all of that like gook, it makes me want to puke. It does. It makes me want to puke. So the nurse asked me beforehand, like, do you want him to like come out and go right in your chest? I was like, I kind of want him rubbed off a little bit. Like I don't want that stuff on there. And they put him like on my stomach for like a second, and then put him right up on my chest. And I loved it. I wouldn't have had it any other way. And luckily he did not have that much stuff on him, which was great. And when he was out, he was on my chest. I was just crying and crying and crying and crying because I was just like so happy he was here. And I just love him so much already. And I was not worried about all that gunk and stuff. I can't even believe that I was like concerned about that, which yes, I can. That's very me. But I was not bothered by it whatsoever. I also was terrified that I was going to tear really badly. I just had a feeling, and I didn't. It was very like 1st degree tears. I just needed 2 stitches, which was not bad at all. And my son's name is Landon Avery Hayden, and he was born on April 21st, 2021 at 11:13 p.m. and he was 7 pounds and 15 ounces. So he was just perfect. It came at just the right time, and I'm just so glad he was not born on 4/20, honestly. I'm so glad. And I did not want it to be Thursday, our neighbor's birthday, and we know somebody else who has a birthday that day, and I was like, no, I don't want it to be that day. So it was honestly very magical, very special, and it was very easy. And the whole time leading up to this, I was so anxious because I had a super easy pregnancy. So I was like, there's no way I can have an easy pregnancy and an easy delivery. There's just no way that I can get that lucky. And I did. God was definitely on my side, and Justin was incredible. He was such a great support. He was encouraging to me. He was just holding my hand, because I don't want you to be talking. I don't want all that. I don't need all that. I just like, and honestly, he was holding my hand, but mostly he was holding my legs. Because like I said, I could only basically sit up. Everything else, numb. And it actually took me a while for my legs to come back. Like the nurse had to help me to the bathroom afterwards. And oh, a funny thing. So I am very modest, and I was like, oh gosh, all these people are gonna be seeing me and all my stuff. Like that's so gross. I was like really like a little anxious about that. And then when you're numb, girl, listen, you can't feel nothing. And when my belly was still this big, I can't see nothing. So apparently my gown was all up and stuff, and Justin was like trying to like pull it down. He was like, oh my gosh. And I had no idea. And I did not even care, which again is so crazy for me because I'm incredibly modest, and I was not bothered whatsoever. And we left the hospital Friday morning, and the whole time I was there, I had no clothes on. I just had the gown on. I'm like, I'm gonna have to keep getting up to change this, change that, you know, trying to breastfeed, having to, you know, they give you those like postpartum unders and everything, all those things. I just was like, I don't even want to bother putting clothes on. And I didn't. I wore no clothes the whole time. A whole bunch of people came in, and they'd be like pushing on your stomach to have like extra blood come out, and then they'd be like checking in your drawers to see if stuff came out. And of course all these ladies are around my age, so that was a little uncomfortable. I'm like, okay, it's fine. Yes, I felt it come out. Like, don't look in there. It was a little uncomfortable. And one of the nurses, you know, when they give you the postpartum underwear, they give you like an ice pack. They give you these little, they're not aloe pads. I'll have to look. But the lady was like showing me how to do it. She literally like did it for me, helped me pull up my underwear. And I was like, okay, that's like a little much. Like I appreciate the tutorial, but that was like a little much. But anyway, all of the nurses we had were so amazing. I don't know what they're called in like the aftercare baby unit. This one girl, Megan, was incredible. She had the best personality. She is so perfect for that job. She did such a good job. She was showing us how to swaddle, and we were having a hard time. I still can't do it. And she was just perfect at it. And I was not in a rush to leave. Of course, I was really tired, and I was like, what am I gonna do with this sucker? And I was having a hard time breastfeeding at first. At first, it was just colostrum, which I think happens for everyone, and he wasn't really latching. So they had a lactation specialist come in, and she told me like the football way, where you like lay him like on a pillow under your arm, and his head is right here. And let me tell you, she hurt me. She was like, don't bring your boob to the baby, bring the baby to you. But it sure felt like she was trying to pull my boob like silly putty. Like, girl clamped it and was like, and it hurt so bad. I was like, ma'am, get away from me. She hurt me so bad. And then later the nurse was like, do you want her to come back? And I was like, nope, that's okay. I learned what I can learn. I'm fine. And let me tell you, as soon as Landon came out, I was like, please somebody give me a sandwich. I hadn't eaten in 12 hours. I'm a hungry gal. And I ate a sandwich that had like lettuce in it, and I hate sandwiches with lettuce. I did not care. I was starving. I was starving. So that is my whole labor and delivery story. If you would like a like postpartum video, newborn, how do we handle the first 3 months video, let me know, because I can definitely talk more about breastfeeding. I've had some troubles with that, but I can also talk about it in my like must-haves video. I can talk about the different things that I tried for breastfeeding that helped me and different formulas and stuff like that. So that's all I'm going to talk about in this video because it was long enough. But if you want me to do a Q&A, I would totally do that. It just, like I said, let me know what kind of content you want to see. I don't want to become a lifestyle channel because I don't watch those videos either. But I do definitely want to do the must-haves video. And then maybe it's possible I can just keep everything else on Instagram. Just let me know what you want to see. If you watch this video, thank you so much. I love that there are some of you guys that care about my personal life because you definitely don't have to. Like I said, I don't really watch vlog videos, but I do follow some more like lifestyle people on Instagram. For some reason, I will watch stories all day long, but I don't really watch vlogs on YouTube. And also, if you guys don't know, I did film a video about my miscarriage in 2019, I believe. And we had been trying for a while after that, and it took us a long time to get pregnant. We actually were looking into seeing a fertility doctor, and then COVID happened and we, you know, just kind of put that on hold, and then we got pregnant naturally, which was amazing. And honestly, when I had that positive pregnancy test, we were both like, oh my gosh, we got pregnant for free. And we were so happy about that because actually the fertility doctor did tell me that the other methods would not work for us. I would have to do IVF, and of course it was not covered by my insurance like at all. So we just knew like we couldn't afford that at that time. So it was amazing to get pregnant naturally. And I'm so lucky that I was pregnant during COVID because I got to work from home. I have a very stressful job. I never leave on time. Dramatic crises are happening every single day. So to be able to be hella pregnant at home saved me. If I had to be in the office, I would have been struggling so much more. And so many people right now are having babies or they're pregnant, and I just feel like this has been a great time for me. I'm so happy. This was like the perfect time in our lives to have a baby. And I grew so much as a person by having that miscarriage. Like, it was a terrible thing that happened, but I grew so much. It showed my husband a lot of strength in me, and it brought us, you know, closer together through that experience. So I do not regret that whatsoever. And it's really exciting because there are a couple other project planners that I follow that shared their miscarriage stories in 2020, and both of them are pregnant right now, which is so amazing. I am like just as happy for them as I was for myself. And of course it's amazing when anybody has a baby, but especially if you've gone through a miscarriage, like to finally have that like positive pregnancy is so exciting. So anyway, like I said, I'm rambling at this point. I would love to hear your labor and delivery stories down below. Let me know what kind of content you want to see from me. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to do a Q&A. So just leave your stuff down below. I appreciate you. And I'm gonna try to go grab Landon right now. So here he is asleep right now, as you can see. And he is adorable. He looks different than I thought he would. First off, he's not brown. If you guys don't know, my husband is black, and Landon looks just like me. He is very, very fair. I know that babies tend to darken a bit as they get a little bit older, but he might just be real light skin, and he is beautiful as he is. I love him very much. But we've been looking at him, of course, as he is about 2 months now. His features are showing more, and he doesn't just look like any old white baby. I can see his features, and he actually has a lot of Justin. He has Justin's ears stick out a little bit. He's got Justin's eyebrows. He has his big eyes. He's got Justin's nose. He has my lips, my chin, and his eye color really changes based on his outfit. At first when he was born, we thought it was like a dark gray, and most of the time now it looks like a dark blue gray, sometimes green, which is so cute. Justin told me for sure we're gonna have a baby with green eyes, and I was like, listen, they gonna be brown. Accept it, they brown. They are not brown, I will tell you that, but eye color can change throughout your life too. So it's just so exciting to see him grow and look more and more distinguished, like different than any old baby. And he's got curly hair, dark brown curly hair, and he's great. I love him so much. And I'm gonna ramble on and on. I can't wait to tell you guys more about him, but honestly, There have been so many times I just look at him and I cry because I'm so happy that he's here and I just love him so much, and he's so beautiful. He's so beautiful. So anyway, if you want to see his actual face, if you want to see him with his eyes open, I will put in some pictures, but definitely check out my Instagram. We did also do a newborn photo shoot, which I posted a couple pictures on my stories, but I haven't made an actual Instagram post yet. So I am going to do that. So you guys can see some more pictures of him because they turned out really, really cute. Anyway, guys, thank you all so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will talk to you soon. Bye, guys.